Ancient Chinese masters claimed they could make their bodies as strong as iron through specialized breathing, and modern science is actually backing up these incredible claims.
That's fascinating. How exactly does modern research support these ancient practices?
Well, recent studies at several universities in China have shown that practitioners of Iron Shirt Qigong demonstrate significantly higher bone density and remarkable resistance to physical stress. The really interesting part is how they achieve this through specific breathing patterns that activate what scientists now call the vagus nerve.
So, you're telling me breathing alone can create physical changes in the body?
Oh, it goes way beyond just breathing. These practitioners developed an entire system combining precise postures with specialized breathing techniques. Think of it like programming. Your nervous system studies show these methods can actually alter your immune response and even change how your genes express themselves.
That sounds almost too good to be true. What's the catch?
Well, here's the thing, it requires incredible dedication. Traditional texts say it takes about 100 days of consistent practice just to build the foundation. But what's fascinating is how these practices connect to something called Daoist alchemy, which takes this body transformation to a whole other level.
You know, I've heard that term before, but never really understood what it meant.
So, Taoist alchemy is like the graduate school of energy practices. These masters believed they could transform their internal energy chi to achieve what they called immortality. But here's the key, they weren't talking about living forever physically. Recent translations of ancient texts show they were describing a state of extraordinary vitality and spiritual development.
That makes much more sense than literal immortality. How does someone actually work toward this kind of transformation?
Well, this is where the golden flower practice comes in. It's this sophisticated meditation system that works to unify body, mind, and spirit. Modern researchers have found it creates measurable changes in brainwave patterns similar to what we see in highly experienced meditators.
So, these ancient practices actually have scientific backing?
Exactly right. And here's something really interesting. A 2022 study from Beijing University showed that regular practitioners had significantly lower levels of inflammatory markers in their blood and demonstrated enhanced immune system function. They're finding biological mechanisms behind what the ancient text described metaphorically.
That's pretty remarkable. How would someone in our modern world even begin to approach something like this?
You know what's fascinating? These practices are perfectly suited for our modern challenges. The breathing techniques have been shown to reduce cortisol levels by up to 50% in some studies, and the physical postures help counteract the effects of our sedentary lifestyle. Even 15 minutes a day can make a measurable difference.
Well, that certainly makes it sound more accessible. What would you say to someone who's skeptical about all this talk of energy and internal alchemy?
Think of it this way, when we measure brain waves or heart activity, we're measuring energy systems in the body. What the ancient Chinese called qi might simply be their way of describing these biological processes before we had the technology to measure them. Modern research is showing these practices create real, measurable changes in everything from bone density to cardiovascular health.
That really helps demystify it. Any final thoughts for someone interested in exploring this further?
Well, here's what I find most compelling. These practices have survived for thousands of years because they work. Recent studies show even beginners can experience reduced anxiety levels within just 2 weeks of regular practice. The key is approaching it with both an open mind and healthy skepticism, and giving yourself time to experience the benefits firsthand. Whether someone is interested in physical resilience, stress management, or deeper spiritual development, there's something valuable here that's been validated both by tradition and modern science.